So, the Boston flight, you were drinking pretty heavily.
Were you there? Ended up with a very ugly situation with Amber. So
Mr. Depp, with respect, trying to respect the court's time and the jury's time, that was not my question. My question was simply,
when
you would agree, you would agree that on Let's pull up Exhibit 500, please. 500? 500. Defense Exhibit 500.
This is like the sequel I lied to.
Sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings, too, right?
Isn't happy hour anytime?
Can't say that you carried cocaine in that box?
No, but it looks like it would fit some cocaine.
Stop right there. Before we continue on to this video, I want to tell you guys about badegrips.store. They have some amazing merch along with hats, hoodies, shirts, grips, and more grips. They have all the grips. They have glow-in-the-dark grips. They have camo grips and much, much more. Dude, use it for style. Use it for tactical stuff during gaming. It's amazing. I highly suggest them. So please, please go to badegrips.store and use my promo code SPIKE678 for an 8% discount. So without further ado, let's get right back into the video. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today we got some more updates on the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. And so yeah, it's been about a week. So we got so Ben Chu and Camille Vasquez has now had their time to be interviewed on a couple channels, and then Amber Heard has been put her 2 cents in. So we're gonna go through these interviews and talk about it. Let's get right into it. This is one of them.
First interview since the blockbuster verdict that Depp was defamed by ex-wife Amber Heard. Welcome to you both. Camille, let me begin with you. I think the verdict surprised a lot of legal experts. They thought it was a very uphill fight from the beginning for you all. What was the key to victory?
I think the key to victory was focusing on the facts and the evidence, and Johnny's opportunity to speak the truth for the first time. It was 6 years in the making, and I think he was able to connect with the jury and the general public and tell what really happened in this relationship.
He wasn't in the courtroom for the verdict. What was his reaction when you told him?
He was over the moon. It was like the weight of the world had been taken off his shoulders, and I feel that finally, after 6 years, he's gotten his life back.
He also went on TikTok yesterday thanking his supporters on social media. What role did social media play in this verdict?
My view is that social media played no role whatsoever. This was a decision made by the jury on the evidence presented by both sides, and as Camille said, it was overwhelmingly in Mr. Depp's favor.
Ms. Heard's lawyers put out a statement yesterday saying the verdict was a setback for women's rights, and they went on to say that it's unseemly and unprofessional for you all to be, quote, taking a victory lap for setting back decades of how women can be treated in the courtroom. How do you respond to that?
I think it's disappointing. We're only speaking about what happened in this case, right? And the facts in this case were overwhelmingly positive for Johnny, and the verdict speaks for itself.
How about the broader criticism, though? It's not just from Heard's teams. Victims advocates have argued that the verdict is going to have a chilling effect on domestic violence victims, and it's a blow to the Me Too movement.
I think our response to that is we encourage any victim to come forward. Domestic violence doesn't have a gender.
So you don't see this as a setback to the movement in any way, shape, or form?
We do not. We believe that the verdict speaks for itself. The facts are what they were. The jury made a unanimous decision based on those facts.
During your cross-examination, what was your impression of Ms. Heard's impression on the jury?
I think that her impression on the jury was what it was. I think something that I focused on and we focused on in that cross-examination was using her words against her. And it was very important for us to, every question that was asked was tied to something she had said previously. And I think the jury got to see and the world got to see and hear from Ms. Heard in that relationship on every single topic.
And George, I think there was a real contrast. Johnny took ownership of a lot of things, and it seemed at times, and perhaps it came through to the jury, that she had an answer for everything, and she wasn't taking accountability for anything. And I think that made a difference.
Heard's lawyers say she plans to appeal the verdict. She doesn't have the money to pay for the judgment, and you all have said that the goal is not to impoverish Ms. Heard. Is it possible where we could see a settlement where she forgoes the appeal in return for Mr. Depp waiving any monetary damages?
Well, George, we obviously can't disclose attorney-client communications, but as Mr. Depp testified, and as we both made clear in our respective closings, this was never about money for Mr. Depp. So this was about restoring his reputation, and he's done that.
So you're not disclosing any privileges, but it sounds like that's something that could be on the table, but it's up to Ms. Heard?
Again, we have to be careful what we say, but this was about Mr. Depp's reputation. That was what it was about for him.
Your life has changed a lot in the last several weeks. You got made partner this week. Congratulations.
Thank you very
Both
much.
of you have also become something of social media stars. How has it changed? What does it feel like?
It's been surreal, and if I'm being honest, a bit overwhelming. But if I can be an inspiration to young women that want to go to law school and study and work hard, then it was all worth it.
You made the choice to go to Virginia for this trial. How much of a difference did that make?
I think Virginia was a good venue for some legal and other reasons, and it has a fabulous court system, tremendous judges and fair juries, and I think this the evidence was listened to carefully on both sides by the jury, and again, it came overwhelmingly in Johnny's favor.
Ms. Heard did win on one count of defamation. Will you be appealing that?
Again, I think it's premature to say, but if you look at the context of the verdict, it was a total win for Johnny.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you very much, George.
Well, hey there, GMA fans.
Yes, that was amazing. There was some points in there that I'm glad that they brought up. Hold on, I wanna. So there was a.
It was like the weight of the world had been taken off his.
So, well, one thing is, this guy asked, saying how they're mad. Amber's side is mad about, Johnny's side taking a victory lap. They fucking deserve it. Johnny won. So obviously they're going to take a victory lap. And last time I checked, your lawyers actually, went to the news stations like a day later. Like, yes, the news stations, kind of asked them, but it's like, you didn't have to do it right there and then. You could have waited a week to 2 weeks. Or maybe the smart thing is wait until after Johnny's lawyers came on. So, I don't know. It was dumb. And I don't know. But I am glad that they came on. They definitely, like they said, the evidence itself was overwhelming for Johnny. They had so much evidence against Amber and stuff, and Amber is just denying. I just think it's just great. There is one more. I think it's just Ben Chu. He was on the Law and Crime Network.
I want to talk about
TV,
Heard's
actually.
lead attorney, Elaine Bretthoff. She made some post-verdict interviews as well last week. In fact, I was supposed to sit down with her. She had to cancel last minute, something urgent in court. We haven't yet rescheduled, but that offer is obviously still out there for her. But I want to give you the opportunity to address some of the things that she did say last week to the media. She claims that your team demonized Amber Heard and suppressed evidence. What's your response?
Amber demonized.
I think it's
woman.
disappointing that she would say something like that. With respect to suppression of evidence, there was a lot more evidence that came in Fairfax County than ever came in London. And I took that as not being complimentary of our judge, who was a wonderful judge. I don't think I just think that's an improper characterization. As far as demonization, the cross-examination of Ms. Heard that was done, I believe, beautifully by Camille Vasquez was not intended to demonize her. It really was predicated on her own words. So the cross-examination was based on statements that Ms. Heard had made, and presenting her with some audios that she herself had made and really asking for her explanation. I don't think that's demonization. I think that's cross-examination.
Right. She points to medical records, text messages from Stephen Deuters, things like that. Would that have made a difference? Can you enlighten us on?
I don't believe any of the evidence that was excluded, and there was evidence excluded on both sides, and you're very familiar. There are rules of evidence that apply. Not everything comes in.
Right. And suppression may not be the best word, too, that she uses, right? It's inadmissible because of hearsay or it's not relevant. Or...
Exactly. And I think Her Honor, played it right down the middle, was very consistent in her rulings, and I think it's an improper characterization, and perhaps she just misspoke.
Sure. Okay, another thing, Elaine said that this verdict is a huge setback for women. Thinking about reporting domestic violence would send a message that they cannot win. What's your team's response?
I think that's entirely untrue. And Mr. Depp would want people to come forward if they were victims of domestic abuse. So I don't think this is a setback at all for women or men who have been victimized by domestic abuse. And I think this is a victory for truth. I think that's, I don't think it's a setback at all.
Elaine also pointed to the jury as possibly even being tainted by the massive amount of media. This was all over social media, as you probably know, and even blaming the cameras in the courtroom for possibly tainting this verdict. What do you think?
That was almost more disappointing than her statement about evidence being kept out, because I construed that as an affront to the jury. I mean, the jury took an oath, as you know, not to look at social media, and there's no basis that the jury violated their oath. And these are people, and you saw them every day, who gave up 6 weeks of their lives, of their work, of their family, to pay attention not only to the evidence that Mr. Depp put forward, but also to the evidence Ms. Heard put forward. And to cast a shadow on them, I think, was really unfortunate and disappointing.
Yeah, there was a statement even recently that Heard's team released. I'm sure you've also read this, but I want to get your take. The spokesperson for Amber says it is as unseemly as it is unprofessional that Johnny Depp's legal team has chosen to do a victory lap for setting back decades of how women can be treated in the courtroom. What's next? A movie deal and merchandising. That was the latest statement. What's your response to that?
The response to that was one day after the verdict, I believe it was one day after the verdict, Ms. Bredehoft appeared on national programs to set forth Ms. Heard's position. So this is a response to that.
Want to bring back in Shanley Painter, Court TV.
Yeah, so it was, I liked how Ben made a point to say how more evidence came into the Virginia trial than the UK trial. I liked how he said that, because it did. There was more evidence, even though some evidence was excluded in the Virginia trial, more evidence came in though than the UK trial, which just kind of proves Elaine's side wrong, because I think Elaine was like, in her last interview, was like saying how, you know, I don't know, something on her side, you know, saying how Johnny's side had more evidence or whatever, and Amber's side couldn't get certain evidence and whatever, which true, you know, just like, you know, they said, you know, it's called, you know, they excluded for relevance. Man, I can't talk today. I really can't talk. But, you know, they excluded for relevance, and then they also excluded for hearsay, you know, like, you know, that type of stuff you can't rely on. Even if they, let's say they brought that stuff in, how would that help your case either way if it's hearsay? We don't know if that's actually true. It's hearsay. You don't know. So that's why, like, I think that evidence could have hurted Amber Heard more, you know, than she already was, because I don't think the evidence that she's talking about and like the medical records, it's therapist's notes, you know, a self-report from Amber, not actual medical documents that say, yes, you have PTSD, or yes, you have bipolar disorder or something like that. No, these are therapist notes saying how, yes, she came in, said she is dealing with this and that. Doesn't make a difference. It's terrible. Amber's caught in so many lies. So last interview that I'm gonna show you guys is Amber Heard interview. It's a very short interview. I don't know. I think this is her only interview, if I'm not mistaken.
No polite way to say it. The jury looked at the evidence you presented. They listened to your testimony, and they did not believe you. They thought you were lying.
I'll put it this way. How could they make a judgment? How could they not come to that conclusion? They had sat.
How can they not make a judgment? They have to. It's part of the. What do you mean? Yeah, they sat there during 6 weeks. Their job is to make a judgment, and I'm sorry, the judgment was not in your fucking favor. Okay, it was in Johnny's favor. You lost, Amber. Get over it. God. Sorry, I just.
In those seats and heard over 3 weeks
6
of
weeks.
nonstop, relentless testimony from paid employees, and towards the end of the trial, randos, as I say.
What's a rando? It's slang for a random person who comes out of nowhere.
I don't blame them. I actually.
What are you calling your witnesses randos then? Because I'm sorry, but like your friends or ex-friends or whatever that were testified on your behalf, I'm sorry, but they didn't even show up. They didn't care. Half your testimonies were depositions from, like, I don't know, a year ago.
Understand he's a beloved character, and people feel they know him. He's a fantastic actor.
Amber told the Today Show's Savannah Guthrie the trial was a losing cause due to.
I want to see if this one. I don't want to have the commentator on there, but basically, her thing is she's saying how he is a beloved character. Yes, he is a very beloved character, but the problem is. The problem is that, you know, people did not just look at him as a lovable character. People looked at him as someone who was abused, just based on the evidence.
Do you find that a jury believed
to that?
You think the jury saw it?
And the jury is not immune of this trial.
Believed.
I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media, and the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs saying, "Burn the witch," "Death to Amber." This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through.
You put this on yourself, girl.
I struggle to find the words to describe how painful this is.
She claimed she was a victim of domestic violence.
Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me.
Okay. Right there just shows that you're lying. Why would you even say that? If you think I'm lying, why would you say that? If you are not lying, you say, I am not lying. You don't say, if you think I'm lying.
Look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Okay, social media has nothing to do with this. Yes, there was definitely not a fair representation throughout social media because everyone was on Johnny's side. But they had a freaking reason. Okay, who cares about the fair representation throughout social media? That's what social media is. It's not going to be fair. Okay, when you have a case like this, especially a huge case like this, the majority of the people are going to side with one person. I guarantee you. There'll probably be cases where people will be kind of split or whatever, but like, come on. You're not here to convince the media or the world. You're here to convince to the jury, the court system, that you did not do this. Like, you need to be focusing on the jury. The jury decided, not the media. The media did not decide whether or not you're guilty or not. Yet they had their conclusions beforehand, which they were right. You know, they were right, especially with the evidence. Like, how she is delusional. I do not wish harm upon her, but she needs serious help. She should not be wandering the free world right now. She needs some help. She needs some help, not jail, but some kind of medical profession help, not some biased therapist or psychiatrist.
Claimed Depp attacked her. He said he was the...
For some people, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst.
Oh my God. It's not the fact of Hollywood brats. It's the fact that, like, you guys... Now, don't get me wrong. Johnny Depp, he had some problems. He was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic. He said some choice words out of anger. Believe me, I've done the same thing. I'm pretty sure the majority of people have. Okay? But he has owned all of it. He has owned the text messages. He has owned all the alcohol and drug abuse. The only person in this story that has not owned anything is Amber. Even her own sister admitted on the stand that she does drugs like almost every day. She was like, "Yo, I remember it because it was one of the few times I was sober." Like, come on, your sister was on drugs. You were definitely on drugs. Even some of your friends have come out, and people that know you have come out to saying that you still do it. It wouldn't surprise me. You're on drugs right now.
But what people don't understand is it's
we all understand.
So much bigger than that.
No.
The Depp lawyer said
you suck.
Called your testimony the performance of a lifetime, and said you were acting.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Says
I think Savannah's done with her.
For the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
Bro, that's from a movie that he played in. Bro, he did not really. You're going to use that as a reference. This man is an actor. That was a character he played in. Edward Scissorhands. Really? You're going to use that as a reference. Bro, he's just a lovable person. He's kind-hearted on and off screen. He will do anything for anybody. He is a kind person. Not you. You are jealous of probably how famous he is, and you're probably mad at the fact that you have been exposed. I mean, I don't blame her for still not admitting it, because, you know, your lies were exposed and stuff. You probably have a lot of regrets right now. Or she's probably too far into it to where she believes it herself.
We were awful to each other. You know, I made a lot of...
Sorry I keep interrupting this, but one more thing to point out that I've been noticing. The only time she blames herself, if she's blaming the both of them. Just now, she's like, yes, we were both horrible to each other. Like, come on. No, take ownership of yourself. Don't put other people in the mix. Say, yes, I was abusive to him. Don't say, yeah, we were both horrible to each other. No, that does not work.
A lot of mistakes.
Do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against?
But I just think it's terrible. I really do. It's terrible. Like, I don't.
It's Johnny Depp about abuse.
Of course, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
The jury may not have believed her.
That's gonna be a
but
long
Amber
pain
Heard
and
insists
suffering, right,
she
for
is
you.
telling the truth. Layla Hayes, 5 News.
Bro, that was upsetting and very depressing. I did not like seeing that. So I'm gonna continue giving you guys updates as long as they're coming. We got another trial next month. Another Johnny Depp trial. His former film and co-worker, or whatever you want to call him, is suing Johnny for punching him, or for punching this guy or whatever. But on Johnny's defense, this guy was being extremely racist to a homeless woman, so he said some choice words, but I think he says he doesn't claim to punch him, which, if he did punch him, I don't blame him. You were being racist. I'll punch you too. But we're gonna keep updated with that, and of course I'm gonna update you guys with this. I'm still waiting to see if Johnny is gonna have some interview. Like, you know, he's been seen after the trial and stuff in the UK performing or coming out of a bar after the verdict, but I'm waiting for him to have an interview. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he might be taking this interview after the next trial, after next month. So, and he'll probably be talking about all of this. But I will keep you guys updated, so please stay tuned for that. If you like this video, please give me a like and a subscribe. Also, check out my merch. Link will be down below. Check out my Twitch channel, DragonsMike17. And subscribe to that. I'll keep you updated. I stream like 3 to 4 times a week, or try to at least. There may be times where I stream 1 to 2 because I'm busy or not feeling good or whatever. I don't know. But please stay tuned for that. So yeah, I'll let you guys know. Thank you for watching, and thank you.